Am I wrong for canceling the entire vacation when I found out that my stepdaughter deliberately hid my daughter's passport to get her to stay home? I've been married to my wife, Beth, for 5 years. I have a biological daughter named Jessica, she's 18, and I have 2 stepdaughters named Monica and Leah. They're 25 and 28. Both are single moms and live with us currently. There's been issues about my stepdaughters asking my daughter to babysit the kids. Jessica didn't have a problem with it at first, since this is what she does to earn money, but since her stepsisters don't pay her much, she just refused to babysit. We worked this out by having my wife take care of paying for the babysitting. I planned a family vacation for 3 days and everyone wanted to go. However, both Monica and Leah suggested that Jessica stay home and watch the kids since Beth doesn't want her grandkids to come. They said it's because the kids are used to Jessica and hiring another babysitter would cause issues. They also said that Jessica isn't too fond of our destination, but it was obvious that Jessica wanted to go. They insisted and Beth offered to pay her double, and there was just a lot of back and forth on this until I demanded they stop bringing it up. We were supposed to go last week and everyone had their bags and we were at the airport and it was time to go. Jessica found out that she didn't have her passport on her. We searched her bag, then went home and searched there. Beth and my stepdaughters kept insisting that we go back to the airport or else we'd miss our flight. They insisted that Jessica stay at home with the kids. They even told the new babysitter to go home because she was no longer needed. I refused to go and kept searching for the passport until Monica admitted that she helped Leah hide Jessica's passport to get her to stay home with the kids. I was livid. I tried to get her to tell me where it was, but she said Leah had it. Leah denied, so I threatened to cancel the vacation, and that's when they gave it back. I decided to actually cancel the vacation and blew up at both of them and berated them. They stayed upstairs for a while and Beth refused to speak to me and said that I punished my stepdaughters for worrying about their kids and wanting them to stay with someone they know. I got told I overreacted and ruined the trip for everybody.
Story time about how I fell in love with my foster father. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It's sent me on Instagram. My mom and dad died in a car crash when I was 2 years old. Trust me, it was terrible, but I was 2, so I don't really remember anything about them. After that, I was sent to live with my grandmother. She was already 82, and she passed away shortly after that. Unfortunately, I didn't have any other family members. I did have an uncle who lived in India, but the court didn't even consider that. This is when I went into foster care. Know that some kids have really terrible experiences, but mine really wasn't that bad. First family I ended up going to adopted me, and they were really good people. I was a single mom with 2 teenage daughters. I was 6 at the time. They really loved me from the beginning. I even started liking school, and I also made a bunch of friends. In fact, I became one of the more popular girls. Fast forward to high school, my adoptive mom started dating a guy. Let's call him John. John was in his early 20s, while my mom was in her late 30s. My 2 sisters had moved out and they had their own jobs. They would come visit almost every single day. And when they met my mom's new boyfriend, they loved him, treated us like his real daughters, and he was completely head over heels in love with my mom. Honestly, I couldn't have been happier. But then I started seeing him differently. I don't even know how it happened, but I started developing a crush. At the time, this boy was trying to get me to be his girlfriend. I said yes in the hopes that I would just forget about John. But this is around the time that John moved in with us. My mom and him were so happy. They always laughed, and he just made her feel like the most special woman in the world. I ended up breaking up with my boyfriend because I just knew I couldn't give him what he wanted. This is when my mom and John got married. So this made John my stepdad. I was so in love with him, but I couldn't tell anybody about it. I started drinking with my friends. I came home drunk one night and he was in the kitchen waiting for me. He got really upset when he saw how drunk I was and told me to go straight to bed. This is when I lunged at him and tried to kiss him. He pushed me away and told me to never do that again. He said that he would forgive me just because I was drunk. But then I confessed to him that I was in love with him. He did not mince words. He said I needed to get over it and forget about it. Then he suggested that I should move out. This was a month ago. Can't even look at my eyes anymore. I feel like I've ruined everything, and obviously my mom doesn't know. I mean, how do I forget about him so that I can continue living there? Or should I move out? What should I do? I've been cheating on my husband for 10 years and he still doesn't know. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. Instead, I mean Instagram. I'm a serial cheater and I actually don't have any shame about it. You see, what makes me happy in life is other men that are not my husband. You see, in order to get out of the misery that I was living in, I had to marry up. And marrying up sometimes means marrying an ugly man. Me, on the other hand, I'm actually really beautiful. And I'm not just saying that. I've been in beauty pageants for about 5 years now and I've won everything. I grew up really poor and I just didn't want to be in that situation. I was working at a gym when I met my now husband. He reeked of money. Nice car, big watch. So I put my seductress powers to work and he literally fell in love with me within a month. I wasn't even attracted to him. He's kind of ugly. I'm just being honest. I started cheating on him the minute we started dating. I even had a boyfriend at the time. I broke up with the boyfriend to make room for my fiance, but I kept my boyfriend as a side piece. Coincidentally, I became a sugar baby at the same time. So I had a bunch of old guys giving me money and my fiance giving me money. And my whole plan was to just basically save up enough money so that I could just be independently wealthy without needing any man. But the money is just too good with my husband. You see, let me explain. He works in illegal things. Part 2 is up. Been cheating on my ugly husband for 10 years and he still doesn't know. Disclaimer is not my story time, instead of me on Instagram. So my plan was to have all my sugar daddies and my fiance at the time basically just give me a lot of money. Eventually I would just save up enough money to be independently wealthy without needing a man. But when I moved in with my fiance, who is now my husband, I realized that the luxury and opulence of his life was just on a whole other level. The thing is, he kept a few things from me before the wedding. After the wedding, he added me to his will. And if anything happens to him, guess how much I'd be set to inherit? $40 million. Yeah. Just $40 million. After the wedding, he also told me about his yacht, a separate island he owns, and his house in the US and in Canada. So you see, my life with him is just completely extravagant. We fly literally wherever we want, whenever we want. The thing is, he actually is pretty jealous. So I'm surprised he hasn't caught me cheating at this point, but I'm pretty good at it. You see, I have a personal trainer. He acts gay in front of my husband, but he's totally straight. And this is actually the ex that I was with before I got with my husband. And because my husband travels a lot, I pretty much travel wherever I want to, separately. And this is when I take advantage and just basically hoe out. No, I'm not saying this is a great thing, but if you're poor, marry up. And if you guys want to comfort me in the comments, you totally can. I know I take advantage of men. They also take advantage of me. It's transactional. And if you're married, I bet he's cheating on you. Or she. Watch your back. Bye.
Story time about how my best friend was a snake. So a little background information. I was 15 and in 9th grade. And I've been best friends with this girl who we're going to call Callie since 5th grade. Well, fast forward to 8th grade, there was this guy in my class that I really liked. And obviously I told Callie about it because, like, duh, she is my best friend. And she has never talked to this boy. She never even knew who he was before I had told her about him. And by the way, we're going to call him Jake. Well, eventually him and I started talking and she was hyping us up. Like, she really wanted us to be together so bad. And I was really feeling the love and support. Well, not long after that, I had to move to another town for like 3 months because of my dad. So Jake and I, we stopped talking after me being gone for like 2 weeks. And of course, not long after that, one of my friends from home texted me. And she's like, hey, you know Callie and that guy that you were talking to, right? AKA Jake. Obviously, I say yes. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how my best friend was a snake. So like I said, I had to move away for 3 months because of my dad, and Jake and I, we stopped talking about 2 weeks after I had left. And then I get a text from my friend saying, hey, you know Callie and that guy that you were talking to, Jake? Obviously, I say yes. And then she goes, oh, well, they're talking about getting together. And I was livid. I'm like, dude, I've literally been gone for like less than a month and you're already trying to get with the guy that I liked. What the actual you know what? So I bawled my eyes out for like 2 hours straight. And then I decide that I'm going to confront her. And she literally says to me, like, she has the audacity to say that she's been in love with him for so long, even before I had told her about him. Which is a lie, because as I told you guys earlier, she didn't know this man. Well, anyways, Jake ended up friend-zoning her, and she didn't even really apologize to me. She said sorry, but like, she didn't acknowledge the importance of the situation and how it made me feel. She just thought that saying sorry would make it all better.
Am I wrong for lashing out on a friend that canceled our trip short notice because he felt inspired by God to go on a different trip? So me and my best friend scheduled a trip months ahead this summer to spend time together. We're both college students and don't get much time to hang out during the semester. We were going to spend a couple of weeks on the trip and I've scheduled my entire summer around it. Well, only a couple days before the trip, my friend tells me he had an epiphany and decided to become a counselor for some Christian summer camp for the whole summer. Looking back, I feel bad for lashing out, but as someone that doesn't understand spirituality, I just got upset by the news. I want to respect my buddy's beliefs and religion, but it's as if the divine being that he believes in didn't consider nor respect my schedule, and when I told him that, he got upset. I do feel bad and had no malicious intent to disrespect his beliefs because I know it's not his choice. But the month's worth of preparation, scheduling, and excitement going down the drain made me emotional. Am I wrong for lashing out to a friend that canceled our trip short notice because he felt inspired by God to go on a different trip? I want to respect my buddy's beliefs in religion, but it feels like the divine being that he believes in didn't consider or respect my schedule, so I told him that and he got upset. I do feel bad and had no malicious intention to disrespect his beliefs. That's not his choice. But the month's worth of preparation, scheduling, and excitement going down the drain did make me emotional. I've apologized, but our relationship has been different ever since. Edited to add that there were some asking if I could still go on the trip, and the trip was completely canceled because he was the one that proposed the idea of the trip and claimed he made arrangements to make some of our plans possible. Also, my lash out was exactly what I said. I basically implied his God had no respect for man by claiming, does he not respect my schedule? And I only learned after he canceled the trip that this impression kept popping up in his mind a few weeks before. Am I wrong for telling my sister that her feeling sick all the time is because of her breast implants and embarrassing and exposing her because we were in front of family? I, 21 female, have an older sister, 26 female, who is sick all the time, gets a bunch of rashes, and is complaining all the time about feeling like trash. About a year ago, she was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and ever since she's blamed every single one of her issues on the disease, even if it's completely irrelevant. She stubbed her toe, it's because of the disease. She's late to an event, it's because of the disease. She doesn't feel well, of course, it's because of the disease. And it's important to note that the doctors even told her she's probably had it her entire life. But she also 5 years ago got breast implants, and ever since then she was starting to feel sick and horrible all the time. And if y'all don't know, breast implant illness is a real thing. It's very common where women who got breast implants will start feeling sick after getting them. And y'all, that's exactly why I get scared to get my own.